Hello everyone, welcome back to Wednesday Fitness. If you are new to my channel, my name is Pearl and thank you guys so much for watching. If you aren't, thank you guys so much for supporting, I appreciate it. So as my title says, I'm going to be sharing 3 simple running tips. Well, technically it's more like 4, but I'm going to say 3 because one of them actually kind of combines with each other, I guess you could say, if they're tied. Okay, so let's get to the point. The first tip that I have, if you are a person who has seen runners and you admire them and you're thinking to yourself, I want to get on this running journey because it just looks fun and I just feel motivated. So how do I do it? How do I start? What do I do to create a good foundation for myself? For someone who has rehabbed her knee twice and who is coming back from a medical hiatus, and maybe someday I'll share a little bit as to why that is, but in a future video. But right now I want to focus on, helping you with your running journey. So the first one, like I said, is to create a visual schedule for yourself. So what I did was I created a 3-month schedule that had Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday as my running days. Now, obviously, your schedule will depend on you and you can personalize it. And I just taped it up onto my wall and I would put specific distances that I needed to cover for those days. But they all needed to eventually add up to 1 mile a week. And I would do 1 mile a week for I think 3 weeks, and then I would slowly taper up onto that and see how I did. I didn't last very long, I'm not gonna lie, because of health issues, but those foundations actually ended up helping me create where I am now. So, you have a start. I like that visual where, people think that success is linear, but success looks more like a jagged lines. It's so true. And even if I had to taper off, I went back to those principles and focusing on what my goal was. I didn't do more than what my goal was. I just maintained it because I needed to establish really good, healthy running habits. And the second thing I had to do was pair it with strength training. I can't emphasize that enough, to pair your running schedule with your strength training days. So on my Monday and Wednesday, those were my strength training days. And I would do 2 days of strength training and really heavily focus on building the joints, building the muscles, making sure that my joints were supported, making sure my movement patterns were correct, that I had good posture, and I was perfecting that for myself. When you have really good posture and good movement patterns, then you're going to see it translate into your daily life, but also into your running. Because if you don't have good strength in your ankles, you're more likely to injure yourself by tripping. If you don't have really good hip joint, then you're going to end up possibly with knee pain or possibly joint issues when you run, because running is a very high impact workout. So it's like super important that you really create that proper foundation first. And like I said, that second one where you're trying to create, a good healthy strength program, paired with that is to videotape yourself. I think it's important to videotape your progress because then you can see how your body is moving, and you can, maybe talk to a professional and say, hey, could you look at this video? I want to know if my posture's off or if there's anything I need to work on. Are my hips in the right place? Are my ankles and joints moving properly in this particular exercise? Creating and establishing that really helps. Like even for me, I think I showed this on my Instagram where I was doing a movement and it wasn't great, and I realized, oh wow, I didn't even feel it and didn't realize I was doing that until I saw the video. And then it made me more hyper focused on correcting that movement pattern so that I wasn't doing it. And then I took, different modalities to help strengthen whatever issues I saw happening. And and I think it's really beneficial, since if you go to a gym, then you can talk to somebody. If you know a personal trainer, then you can ask them. Most of them are pretty, I think, open, like myself. I mean, if someone came up to me and said, hey, I know you're a personal trainer and wanted to ask you a question, do you think you could look at a video and just kind of critique it for me? I'd say like, yeah, sure, no problem. This is something that, you know, you can definitely consider doing to help make sure that you're creating the right foundation for your movement. The last thing is to focus on your nutrition. I can't emphasize that enough, especially for us ladies, because we tend to have higher cortisol levels in the morning. And if you start running when you're stressed out, your body is going to retain the fat because it's just stressed. Okay, so we need to lower our cortisol levels. And also, high cortisol levels tend to, like, especially for a long period of time, it has been correlated to dementia and Alzheimer's. So it's really important that we learn how to taper our cortisol levels. But fueling your body is really important, especially when you're going into a run. And it's very different compared to when you're going into a gym. When you do strength training, you have rest periods. When you go on a run, there is zero rest. You are running for whatever duration of time that you are running for, and you want to make sure that you're fueling your body properly. So one of the things that I would do is to make sure that I would have a very high carbohydrate dinner before the night before I'm doing a run. And the reason for that is because that's where our energy stores come from when we go on our run. So it goes into these different areas for energy, and it's really important. It kind of is like that I don't know if you guys have ever seen that video of a guy who has a really tiny domino, and then he puts it in front of all these other bigger dominoes, and it kind of scales up in size. Well, think about your body in that sense of like how your body gets energy. It goes into like the smallest area for energy because it's quick and easy, and then it just goes on to the bigger ones and taps into all the bigger ones. Okay, that's basically how I visualize it. I mean, it's more, I should say, automatic in all of its different movements and how it does it. It's not like a step-by-step process. I mean, this is all happening simultaneously, but in essence, that's basically what we want to do for our body, is to make sure it has enough energy so that it's using it to help continue to propel us as we're going on our run. So I hope that that helps kind of create a good foundation for you. And if you have any more questions about, you know, running specific, feel free to ask. As I am going back into my own running journey, feel free to, you know, comment below or to ask me, DM me, whatever. You can check me out on my Instagram. And with that said, guys, may you live, thrive, and be healthy. And thanks again for watching. Take care. Bye.